Liverpool are still top of the league, and I don't like it. And do you know what the worst part about Liverpool being top of the league is? They deserve to be top of the league. They have the most XG created, the fewest XG conceded. Like, overall, they are top of the league because they deserve to be top of the league, and they've been the best team in the league, which is why I'm really worried Liverpool can win the league this season. The real reason is because they deserve to be there. They have been good. And Slot has done this without a transfer window. Slot has done this where we haven't seen Cody Gapo at his very best yet. And I know there's a really good player in Cody Gapo. Darwin Nunes could be unleashed when he finds his confidence. Thought he was really good in the Chelsea game. There's still a lot more to come from certain Liverpool players. Chiesa's barely touched the ball. You know, Harvey Elliott to be involved more as well. And he's probably going to have a January spend, considering Liverpool spent absolutely nothing in the summer bar Chiesa. So he's only really going to improve on this. And he's adapting his tactics in big games like Chelsea to win the game, adapting his tactics versus Man United to win the game. People say Liverpool haven't been tested. They've got Arsenal next. That's the next big test for them. But you look at Arsenal and you look at Manchester City. Arsenal losing 2-0 to Bournemouth, of course, the red card. And every time Arsenal drop points this season, it's because of the red cards. And, you know, deep down, they've always been my title favourites. But when they get the red card, it's given them a lot of impact. If Liverpool beat Arsenal, Liverpool will go 7 points clear of them after 9 games, which is mad. And then Man City only beat Wolves because of a last-minute goal by John Stones, which probably should have been ruled out. But Manchester City, we can all admit it, Manchester City definitely get the best of luck with VAR out of all the big clubs. Like, I do not buy into this narrative that Arsenal are being cheated. But if you look at the decisions Arsenal and Liverpool get compared to the decisions Manchester City get, there's no denying Manchester City have 9 times out of 10 get the benefit of the doubt. But Man City weren't particularly convincing versus Wolves. Man City weren't even good versus Fulham. Fulham just didn't take their chances and they were clinical. I don't think Man City have looked anywhere near the best. They're getting results. You know, I think there's still more to come from Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool are amazing versus Chelsea, and I think Chelsea could have got a point out of that. But when you look at Arsenal, you look at Man City, you look at Liverpool, on the eye, Liverpool have looked the best. The underlying numbers say Liverpool are the best, and Liverpool are top of the league, which worries me that they can win the league. And if you look at these fixtures here, the first 45 minutes versus Ipswich, Liverpool were poor, but then Slot made some really good tactical changes. He brought on Konate, and Liverpool in that second half could have honestly won that game 4-0 by the end of it. Versus Brentford, again, they could have probably won that 3-0. We don't talk about the Man United game. That was just absolutely horrific. And, you know, I mean, maybe Xerxes could have scored for us, but yeah, Szoboszlai missed an open goal for you, didn't he? You could have beaten us 4-0 again. Forest, that was a loss, but I think Nottingham Forest, we've learned, are a better team than people thought. I think Forest were one of the favourites to go down. Watching Forest this season, I think they statistically have the second or third best defensive record, don't they? Here it is. They're third for defensive record. Third. I thought they were second. They're third. And Nuno has done a very, very good job. Nottingham Forest have surprised me. AC Milan, again, 3-1 win. They went 1-0 down very early on. They had a poor 10 minutes and then they just all over AC Milan. Bournemouth, 3-0 win, very dominant game. West Ham, 5-1 win, rotation there as well, which has been the question. You know, Slot was sort of going with the same lineup early on. You know, does he have the depth to rotate? And that's been the big question about Liverpool depth, but he rotated a lot and he did very well there. Wolves was a difficult game, but, you know, they gave Man City a difficult game. So I think, you know, while I think they, you know, I wouldn't say they were lucky to beat Wolves, they definitely did enough to beat Wolves and it was more difficult. Man City only beat Wolves 2-1. So, you know, that tells you everything you need to know. Bologna, there was a 2-0 win for them. Palace made it incredibly difficult, but Palace, you know, 0-0 to United. I think 1-1 with Chelsea. Palace haven't been good this season, but they've given the big teams a tough game. And then Chelsea 2-1. And, you know, I'll say this about Chelsea. I think Chelsea's underlying numbers put them third for XG created. They're actually first for big chances created. I think Chelsea and Tottenham and Liverpool on the eye have looked the 3 most impressive teams, in my opinion. I think City and Arsenal, obviously up there, and you expect them to finish above Tottenham and Chelsea, but on the eye, those 3 teams, Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool, being with the most XG created doesn't surprise me. I think Chelsea have been unbelievable this season, and I think Maresca let Chelsea dominate the game in areas of possession and stuff, and he said, well, he's probably said, we're just going to hit them here, hit them there, hit them there, you know, get Salah, counter-attack, and that's what he did, and it worked really well. So 10 wins in his first 11 games is the best start to history for any Liverpool manager. And this is Arne Slot taking over Klopp's side, where I think some people can argue Klopp overachieved last season. And I know that you only won the 1 trophy and you fell out towards the end of last month pretty awfully. But I felt that when we were talking about title race last season, this time a year ago, it was meant to be the Arsenal City title race. Liverpool had finished 5th the season before. They weren't in the Champions League. And You know, the way that Klopp kept up until that final month was unbelievable, because I don't think Liverpool, you know, they sold 4 midfielders, they brought in 4 new midfielders, they were at the start of their rebuild under Klopp. And I thought Klopp did really well last season, and Slot's continued on that. But you look at these metrics, XG for Liverpool are first, XG against Liverpool are first, expected points, Liverpool are first, goals conceded, Liverpool were 20th, so that is basically first. Goals scored, I think Tottenham and Chelsea are the only teams with more goals scored than Liverpool this season. Points, they're first. They're top of the league and they deserve to be there. And that's the real reason why I am worried Liverpool can win the league, because we're going to talk about the defence, we're going to talk about individual players, but you know, Sunderland are top of the Championship, I believe, and Sunderland have looked really, really good. But Sunderland's underlying numbers are nowhere near as good as like a Leeds and other teams and a Burnley and other teams in the Championship, which makes me think that Sunderland will probably get into the playoff spots. But they've looked really good. They've got Job, they've got Chris Rigg, whereas you know, I think Leeds and Burnley will probably get the automatic promotion, whereas with Liverpool, they're top. City and Arsenal aren't quite at their very best, and they deserve to be top. So I want to talk about Liverpool and why I think they could get better. They've only conceded 3 goals. You can see that Liverpool's out-of-possession structure has improved under Slot. I think that Klopp is a very good manager, but I felt at times last season that Liverpool were a little bit vulnerable defensively. I felt that Liverpool were good at going forward. Sometimes they didn't take their chances, but they could be vulnerable defensively. It always felt like they were going to concede a goal watching them last season. And I think this season Liverpool look a lot more solid defensively. I think Konate staying fit as well for so long is probably a big boost for you guys. He didn't even have a chance to win, which says to me, yeah, Chiesa's come and he's not played. I think you're only going to get better. But I think the way he adapted tactically versus Chelsea, he set up to allow Chelsea to dominate possession, dominate the game in you know, possession in midfield, which is what Maresca likes to do. He set up and he was like, yeah, Maresca can have the ball, Chelsea can have the ball as much as they want. They can do this, they can do that. But when Liverpool got the ball, they're a bit more dangerous than it. Chelsea had a lot more of the ball, but if you look at the big chances created, you look at the XG, Liverpool were higher in those metrics. And I think that Chelsea gave Liverpool a good game. Chelsea gave Liverpool a really difficult game, but I think Chelsea have been really good this season. And I think Chelsea, in my opinion, will comfortably finish top 4. So I think the fact that Liverpool got that win shows, you know, that Slot is well aware of how good Chelsea is. And that's a really good 3 points for Liverpool to get. Tactically outclassed Ten Hag. We don't need to go into more detail about that. I don't want to talk about that. Adapted in second half versus Ipswich. And the only defeat was Forest. I said second best XG against the third, actually, when I double check that. But Forest have been very good this season. This was Liverpool before the Chelsea game. The lowest XG conceded 5.2. They obviously conceded a bit more XG versus Chelsea. They've only conceded 2 goals before the Chelsea game, and these were the defensive record. I think Van Dijk and Konate had been absolutely monstrous together so far this season. They don't look like you can beat them. Liverpool are very difficult to beat. But I think there's more to come. Now, Darwin Nunes, I thought, was very good in the game versus Chelsea. Anything Liverpool said this. Special shout out to Darwin Nunes for that performance he put in versus Chelsea. He put his body on the line. He won more duels 9, was fouled more times 4 than any other player on the pitch. He put in an absolute graft. I think he didn't really get the service for the goal that he probably deserves and his performance warranted. And I think Darwin Nunes has been the big question mark this season. Something's not looked right. He's not looked happy under Slot. Him and Gapo haven't had a whole load of minutes. But I think there's so much more to come from Nunez and Gapo once they get warmed up. You know me, I rate Gapo. I wanted him at Man United. I think he can play on the left wing really well. I think he could give Diaz competition. I wouldn't be surprised if he took Diaz's spot, despite Diaz having a fantastic start to the season, which might sound unpopular. But I think you've not seen Nunez and Gapo yet under Slot. And I think there's a lot more that Nunez and Gapo will probably bring under Slot. And I think Nunes, you know, potentially could have this Jimenez-like impact where it starts a bit slow and then Slot unlocks something. You never know. You know, we saw how good Nunes was for Uruguay just before Slot came in. So there's definitely a good player there. Obviously, the main guy that's improved is Ryan Gravenberch. He's been absolutely fantastic. 92nd percentile for progressive carries, 91st percentile for dual win rate, 88% percentile for forward passes, 83rd percentile for defensive actions, 80th percentile for progressive passes. He kept Cole Palmer really quiet in that Chelsea game. He's been man of the match in probably 5 out of 10 of Liverpool's games this season, and probably man of the match contender in all 10. You know, he's been absolutely fantastic for Liverpool this season. And I've always rated Gravenberch. He's really shown the Ajax potential he had. He's a monster at carrying the ball. He's so technically good, but he's got the athletic traits. He's a dual winner. He can cover ground. He's got long legs. He's athletically and technically fantastic player that is versatile. And Slot is moulding him into a really good DM, taking advantage of his unique traits and profiles. And Slot is profiling him absolutely perfect. Cody Gapo only has 1 assist and 0 goals in 8 Premier League matches, but he's only started 2 and played the equivalent of 3 full matches. So there's so much more to come from Cody Gapo, who had a very good Euros, and I think he was good. It was at the AC Milan game or the West Ham game. He's looked good in the games that he has started. And then if you look at Salah, I think Salah is back to his very best. I think Salah had a period after AFCON where he dropped off the second half of the last season, but I look at Mo Salah, 10 goal contributions in the Premier League in 8 games, 13 goal contributions in 11 games. Slot's giving him more of a free role. We see Salah roaming around a lot more. I think Mo Salah looks a lot better this season, back to his sort of best and enjoying his football under Slot. And I think if you've got Salah in form, that makes such a big difference to Liverpool's season. Now, I'm not comparing Salah to Rashford, but what I'm saying with Man United is Man United really struggled to score goals in these sort of 2.5 years under Ten Hag. But the one period where Man United weren't struggling to score goals is when Marcus Rashford had his 40-goal season, 45-goal contribution season. I think it was 30 goals, 15 assists. And it was all coming through Rashford. He was so dominant in Man United's ability to score goals under Ten Hag. And when Rashford's goals dried up, Man United's goals dried up. Obviously, Liverpool have got a lot more attacking talent than Manchester United, as much as I hate to admit this. But Salah is one of those guys that, he's going to get those goals. Even if he doesn't have the best game, he's going to get those goals, and those goals win you games. If you've got Salah getting the goals, getting the points, that is so key, because you can't win the league by playing every game pretty and deserving to win every game. Sometimes you have to have those games where it's tough, and in the moment of magic, Salah, who maybe has a quiet game, produces a goal out of nothing, and that's how Liverpool get the 3 points, because that's what City did with Stones versus Wolves to get the win over the line. Liverpool also have a really strong midfield. I think their depth in midfield is better than they think. I think, for me, I think Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, McAllister seems to be the main midfield three that Slot likes, but I think Curtis Jones could give Szoboszlai some competition there. I think Harvey Elliott could be really good in Szoboszlai's sort of 10 role with the pressing under Arne Slot. I think Harvey Elliott could work really well under Arne Slot, and Endo, he can do a job. Despite him not having the attributes on the ball that Slot wants in the 6, he could do the job. They probably need a Subamende just for depth, because if Gravenberch gets injured, it's Endo who's a bit different because he's not as good on the ball, and McAllister dropping deeper. I think they'd need a Subamende, because the Subamende, Gravenberch, McAllister midfield three is an unbelievable midfield three in the Premier League. But Liverpool do have some good names there. Curtis Jones proving in that fantastic performance versus Chelsea. You can rotate between him, Szoboszlai, McAllister, and he is a good player there. Van Dijk and Konate just been a beast at the bat. Luis Diaz on fire this season. He's a confidence player, but he never stops running. He drives at you. He's direct. He's fast. He can dribble. He likes to make an impact. There's always an impactful player there. So I think Liverpool have got something really good going on, and they're building something really good, which I hate to admit. Liverpool fans, let me know your thoughts down below. I think Liverpool, Arsenal, City will win the Premier League title. I think City could start dropping points. I think they've been a bit lucky. I think Arsenal could start picking up more points when they stop getting red cards, because they've only dropped points because of red cards in games. But Liverpool have been the best team, and that worries me. Thank you for watching. Bye.